Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very unscripted podcast. Hayden just asked me 2 seconds ago. He said, "What were we talking about?" Didn't you?
I've got no idea. And guess what the answer was? I got it's a surprise.
Hang on, Nick's just texting me. Oh yeah, I've got to pick Sky up. Not for a bit though. Right. So this episode, I wanted to talk about. Ready for it?
Yep.
Running trends. Interesting.
Okay.
Now, running as a whole is trending, has been for a while, still is. And I am of the belief that running, in terms of a trend, will peak in 2027 with the London Marathon 2 days. There'll be so much activities, activations, and coverage and everything, and it'll be awesome. But I think that will be the peak in terms of it as a trend, because you're going to get a lot of people who get in. There's 100,000 places up. You know, it's going to be a lot of coverage, a lot of people doing it, which is great. But I do feel like running as a trend will start to fade out. But I thought it was an interesting subject to talk about because, and this is where I want to start the conversation. This is more like a conversation than anything, like usual. So, Hayden, can you guess 5 trends that were not around 10 years ago in running to start the pod?
Yeah, I'm saying the most common one, the most popular one right up there, and I'm not sure how you put it into a category, is the fact of a social run club.
Okay, I've got that. I've got modern run clubs. We're going to circle back to these. Yep. We're going to discuss them. So I've got it down as modern run clubs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fair?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll come back and discuss them.
Social media.
Okay, yeah, all right. I've not got that down. Keep that. Remember that one. We'll talk about that as well.
I suppose coming under social media, we'll include Strava and stuff under that, won't we?
Yeah, apps and stuff. Yeah, all right. Well, I'll add that one on there. Yeah.
I think I'd go as far to saying the everyday runner, if I'm honest, as well. I feel as though 10 years ago or previous to that, a lot of running was focused on performance, and you had to be a good runner. You're a good runner, quick. Right, and I would say
the everyday nowadays, all right, we'll come on to that. There's a trend. Not a bad shout. I've written this down on Daisy's whiteboard. Wrote them down. Any others?
I do think we need to talk about the tech and the shoes.
Yeah, I've got that. So yeah, we'll do that. I've wrote down super shoes, but yeah,
super shoes, 100%. I'd honestly say races abroad.
Yeah, I've got marathon tourism.
Yeah. Runcations. Yeah. Your favourite word.
We started so well. I hadn't mentioned Stu Hammond on Strava. No, I'm going to pretend you didn't say that for the purposes of tonight's show. Yeah, well.
Okay. Around running.
10 years ago.
Podcasts.
Oh, I didn't think of that. That's a good one. Okay. Any others? Quick, or I'll give you 2 more.
Oh, you give me a couple more.
Yeah, I thought of running fashion.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
In terms of like, if you now look at some of the stuff out there in terms of running fashion. And the other one I thought of was this like running, like, I don't know if you not cafes, but like that's maybe comes under the social side of it, but like pub, like Lucky Saint did it, and people were like running cafes and that sort of thing as well. Like that seems, there's a few clubs that run out of like coffee shops and that kind of deal. Does that make sense?
I think that's social. What you spoke about. That's social. It's a huge umbrella, isn't it? It's huge.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So what we're then going to do after we discuss these, I thought, for the next 10 or whatever minutes, we'll then think about predicting the next 5 years, the 5 trending things for the next 5 years. Okay. And if you're listening to this as you're running along, play along. So we'll start with what was the first one? You said I said modern run clubs. It's like what's that? Family Fortunes. You said modern run clubs. The family. But yeah, the social run club. Expand on that then.
Well, I think we talk about in this modern day and age now, we talk about a traditional running club, don't we? And I think just the fact we mention the words traditional running club and don't say running club shows clearly there's a definition there between
true.
What we used to look at as a running club and what maybe we do now. And don't get me
How
wrong.
would you define that now then? Let's say a modern running club now.
I would say there's a lot of factors into it. I'd say a traditional running club, you more than often you're going to have to pay. You turn up weekly. It's
Yeah, pay your subs, wouldn't you? Your fees and all that.
sometimes a coach session.
Mm.
It doesn't focus on that social side of it. You could go there, probably do a real hard session, come away and not even talk to anyone.
It's true.
That's what they do at traditional running clubs, but that could happen. Whereas the social thing is absolutely completely the opposite, isn't it? You couldn't get
away. So I've just thought of one. But I'll come on to it. You just made me think of one for the next 5 years. Yeah, I think it's that, as we said, it's that coffee shop, social, a lot of music, sometimes lights, have a beer afterwards, do something a bit different, kind of vibe about it, a bit more. Some of them do like, in terms of the modern one, some of them do like we used to see like midnight runners do some cross training or whatever it was, hit sessions as they're going round. It's very much you've got the dating
side of it. Yep.
Side of it. You've got, there seems to be, it's very much an American thing where there's a club for everybody in terms of like what you're looking for, I would say, out there. Whether
that's interesting that you'd pick up the America thing. So I suppose it's not something I really thought about or even know about. So do you know, is that social run club thing?
I'll never forget. Yeah, I'll never forget. I was talking to Kafuzi, who I'm not a fan of anymore because he was rude, and not very supportive of content creators. But anyway, put that to one side. But what he did say to me one time was that there was like run clubs for like every sort of person, even just within like a city like New York. If you're whatever, after a run club that goes baking afterwards, or that sort of things. Yeah, that there seems to be that has definitely come over from there in the respect of, and I think it's a good thing, by the way, as like whether you're back at a pack runner, you're looking for the social stuff, you're a bunch of fast people. Yeah, you like to go on the beer and then do a bit of a running, whatever it is, straight, not straight, in the middle, bit of everything, whatever you are and whatever you're into, there's a group of people that meet and run, which I think is fantastic. So everybody feels that running is inclusive, and they can be a part of something where they don't feel like being judged because they're amongst people similar minded, which, as I said, I think that's a brilliant thing.
Yeah,
also, I think obviously we saw that trend of the younger run club, which was helped massively, which leads us on nicely to the social media side of things, which, you saw the influencers, and I'm not talking about the ones who claim to be run coaches and all this sort of stuff, but I'm talking about the people who then started out their like groups. The lady who started that Runners and Stunners, if I'm wrong or right. And that kind of thing, which is great. Again, trying to find, and I think that was one of the powerful positive trends that came out of social media, in terms of that you had a platform in which people could find you to find those run clubs. So I think, again, that social media element on the positive side helped there. I think that's
also when you talked about midnight runners, I think if we put Friday night lights in there as well, they sort of tried to spin that.
Yeah, but those Friday nights, whatever they call, they charge.
They do charge, yeah. But
so I wouldn't classify them as a run club.
Okay, that's interesting. So
I think they're events.
Okay,
they're events.
I get that.
Them down. Yeah, I would say they're more like don't get me wrong, there's a community that's formed off of that, right? Yeah. But I would say they are an event, the Friday, whatever they are.
And that was my point. That's sort of that mantra they were trying to peddle out there about, instead of going to the pub with your mates on a Friday night. The reason they done it on a Friday night was, instead of going out to the pub and getting absolutely hammered, why don't you all meet up and go for a run?
The date, and they got the dating thing as well, which was, became very popular and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think definitely that was something that's, I don't know if you agree, disagree, but I would say, from my perspective, I would say that's a positive trend.
Agreed.
Of the last, say, 5 years. I mean, these are stuff that wasn't around 10 years ago, but even in the last 5 years, I would say that's a positive trend. You mentioned the everyday runner, which is a phrase that, I coined 8-9 years ago, which meant that normal person, average runner, just running for their own reason, whatever it is, whatever shape or form you come in, you're just doing it for your own reasons. Yeah. Not that traditional runner, far from it. And using running as an outlet for whatever reason you're using it for. You said that wasn't around necessarily 10 years ago.
It's hard to tell. Maybe they just didn't get that. They didn't have that platform to show that they're around. Obviously, for years, my dad, when I was growing up, my dad used to go out running. He didn't belong to a run club. He used to go for a jog on a Monday, or sorry, on a Sunday. So
I think social media has pushed it. I think social media
yeah.
has pushed that person to the front.
So it's made it a trend.
Yeah, made it a trend because of the as that social media traction, you know, other people were then able to resonate with it, get behind it, and then, as you say, then it became trending. And actually, again, it's kind of linked in nicely. Actually, if you think about it, the modern social run club, the social media, the everyday runner, all of them have all grown as a. Oh, look, here he is. Look, here he is. Hey, buds, you all right, mate? You all right? You're just going to sit there and pant. It always made an appearance, but yeah, I think they've all accelerated their own the trend of each other.
Yeah,
over the last few years. And sticking on that line, because I'll leave the last two alone for now. But then I think out of that, we've then got that. I've put down marathon tourism, where the majors have become like more destination events, more like you use that soppy word, but like people, the everyday runners, the people who are going to these social run groups are planning trips to go and do these things. And then social media, people are posting on social media, which is then making it more of a trend. And, you know, it's like, again, it's all feeding each other to make it trending. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think a lot of it comes down to one word as well. I think confidence is a big word with this, because that trend and that social run club, that social media, is giving people the platform and the confidence to go out and run and not think, you know what, I can't run. I'm too slow. They're getting more confident. And those confident people are thinking, why can't I go into the Berlin Ballet? Why can't I go in the Tokyo Ballet? And if I get it, why can't I go out and run the marathon? I can give it a go. Whereas maybe 10 years ago, people didn't have that confidence. Everyone thought marathons and races, therefore they're for serious runners. You know, we don't have the confidence to give that a go. But now, I think that's definitely become trendy, where people are a lot more confident.
And I think that confidence comes from being within that social club network necessarily.
Yeah.
From, as you say, seeing other people within their sort of friend circle or whatever do it, and then get the belief and then go from there. I think that's definitely something that we've seen. Yeah, transcend.
We see it within the club, don't we? The 40 Runs Running Club all the time. People that come and they're scared to come to an event, scared to talk to someone, and then you see them a year later and they're taking on satellite groups. They're running leaders. They're doing their Lurf. You're like, they're arranging the trips abroad. It's just brilliant. It's fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. It does open up, and again, that's where, you know, a club like ours, you know, one of the original clubs in the country in terms of changing the direction of travel. You know, you see that through the, you know, 65 of them going to Lanzarote or whatever the number is. And we take 75 people to Chicago to do the marathon, you know, those sort of things, but reducing those barriers in terms of the confidence. People, you know, 5-6 years ago would go, oh, I can't do that. Well, yeah, you can. Just come with us. We're going.
I've got a really big question for you. And maybe it is a bit personal because it is about the club. Where would you say the 40 Runs Running Club sits? If we talk about maybe having this social run club here and our traditional run club here, where would you say 40 Runs Running Club sits? And if it is somewhere in the middle, is it a little bit unique? And how would we describe it? How would we place it? It's difficult.
The thing is, I would say it was the original kind of social club that went across the country. Yeah, there was other smaller social groups, clubs, you know, like you got the London City Runners and stuff like that, been going years and things like that. But I think we really encompassed, you know what I mean?
Encompassed,
yeah, the everyday runner ethos, and we brought those barriers down. Cost, you know, the club's free to join and all that sort of stuff, and the satellite groups free to join and come along to. You don't even have to be a member of the club, or you can be a member of another club and come along. We don't care. So I think we and our run leaders are like qualified run leaders. So again, that's where you go more towards that traditional club because you've got the qualified people, you've got, the insurance in place. A lot of these social groups, we've spoken to people, they've got a clue about risk assessments, insurance, welfare, safeguarding, DBS checks, all this sort of stuff that as a 7-star England Athletics club, we're proud of. But we don't run the traditional model of, right, let's all go to the track. The coach says, you're going to do this session, you're going to do that session, you're going to do that session. We don't do that. We're very much, again, an evolving monster, I would say. We don't actually, you can't pigeonhole us, which is a good thing.
You know what? We shouldn't go on about this because I think we could save this for another 5 or 6 minutes time when we talk about the evolution and where we're going to be in the future.
Yeah, the trend. Yeah, I'll come on.
Setting up, we could be blazing away a trail.
I'm actually going to put the next two into the same thing, so I want to move on. But super shoes, definitely the evolution of super shoes. I always say it's the runner, not the shoe, but the evolution of the super shoes and running fashion, I think, go hand in hand because they're actually now, if you look at a shoe like the Evo SL from Adidas, it's a super shoe because it's got the super foam from what was a race-winning shoe in the Adidas Pro 3. They stuck that on a 130 quid shoe that was very fashionable because it looked good, available in about 1 million different colours.
Yeah.
And now you've seen Robbie Williams rock them out and people just like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's crossed over brilliantly. So I think all of that side of things, was it Satisfy Running? Or somebody did like a special edition of the shoe as well. And other brands have done the same, Saucony have done the same. And they're crossing over into fashion with their running stuff. And I think that whole thing was, 10 years ago, it was like, I'm going to wear a pair of Asics Gel Cumulus to my local club night. It's true, though, isn't it? So again, I think it's a
great thing. And I agree with you. I think, funny enough, both of us, we was out at the weekend, went we Saturday night. And strange enough, even though both of us have running shoes on, maybe some people think we're sad, but people are wearing fashionable shoes. Like the Pegasus, for me, the Pegasus Premium, they're a nice shoe. They're like a Nike Air Max from like 15 years ago that everyone would have been drooling over. But ultimately, they are a running shoe.
Yeah.
People still wearing them just as everyday shoes. It's brilliant.
Yes, Evo SL is a classic example. Yeah. So, I see a geezer today in a pair of, in the office that I work in, bowled in a pair of Triumph 23s. That's what it's all about. Okay. So there's sort of the trends that weren't around. Now, we've got to think of 5. Oh, Buds he's had enough. No.
He's bored.
He's bored. He's had enough. Let's try and think of 5 trends that we think are going to predict for the next, let's say 5 years as well, right? As I said, I think running's gonna. I've wrote down 5. I'm going to read them out to you. And while I think about it, you can make your life a bit easier. You can add to these or tell me I'm talking my arse. Well, I think firstly, the death of the training app. I'll come back to that. Increased popularity of trail running. Come back to that. You're not meant to grieve them yet, you helmet.
Okay.
A competitor to parkrun. The end of the running influencer. And the popularities of majors declining. Right. Anything you want to add to that while I let Buds out?
Yep, I think I've got one big one that we alluded to about 5 minutes ago. I think that evolution from...
I am listening. I'm just having a convo with the dog.
That's all right. You crack on. I think that evolution from social run clubs at the moment, particularly with youngsters, and that social run club becoming more, should we say, competitive, rather than going there just for a social run. Those people are starting to think, do you know what? I've just done that half marathon in 2 hours. I think I can go 1:35. I think that evolution is in this way as well.
Wow, that's interesting. Because remember I said to you when you was talking before, I wrote one down. I actually wrote on here, the trend for the next 5 years is the traditional run club popularity.
Yeah, of course.
I think you will find that those social runners, who maybe like the younger guys and girls, your 20, 29-year-olds, obviously over the next few years, they will find themselves going into the traditional run club system, and that hopefully will not bring them back to life because that's a bit strong, but like that will swell that back up again. And I think you'll see, when we go and do Vitality 10K, you'll see loads of people in Fulham tops and these tops, like that they have to wear, the sort of running tops that they all have to wear, which is fine. Okay, brilliant. But I think that will come back over the next 5 years. So should we pick them apart, the other ones?
Yeah, let's do them.
So the death of the training app. So obviously we know the Strava guy, the runner guy has left, which I think tells you it's at the top. So I think that stuff, because of the power of AI, what those running apps are doing for people, a lot of people now, because they ain't thick, surprisingly enough, putting the correct prompts into Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever, and effectively writing their own training plans and using AI themselves to write a plan. I'm a coach. I don't necessarily agree with that, by the way, but I can understand why people are doing it. You're saving yourselves money. You're getting some form of guidance, some form of structure. And you've got to remember that the training apps are effectively just AI anyway. They're coding, and they're advanced intelligent learning. So I see people coming out of stuff like Runner, coming out of stuff like Cooper, because you're either going to go, I'm going to get a coach because I want that human interaction. I want the years of experience that guy, girl has got to help me go bang in that accountability. Or I'm going to do my own thing and I'm going to use AI because it's proving to give me the structure that I need to just, improve my running. Agree, disagree?
On the fence. I agree with what you're saying ultimately, and your ChatGPT, your AI, your Gemini, that plays a huge part. The only two caveats I would say to it is, one, I feel as though if people go down that route, I feel it could be the decline of the coach. I know you're saying that personal touch can't be beaten or matched. But as you say, if everyone does go down that route and people start doing well, isn't everyone going to go down that route? And
yes, very much so. But I would say to you, because I take on clients who do this, by the way, they're doing it, but they know that they're not getting the best in terms of where they've only been able to get so far with it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hearing in terms of the AI route. So they've come off of Runner, they've come off of Cooper, just to be fair to Runner, they've come off of whatever, and they've got onto AI and tried to match it and said, look, this is what I was doing on Runner, Cooper, whatever. Can you design me a whatever? And it's giving them that. But obviously with the coach, with the AI, if you're struggling with this, this week's too much, the loads here, boom, you're not dedicating enough to this, where that experience of the coach comes in, they're lacking that. And again, you find, as with all these apps, the runners plateau. So it will have an immediate result, great, but then it plateaus because the AI can only do so much, And that's where people then reach out for the coaches, or they don't simply get on with it. So I think that's where, but I think it is going to be the death of these apps. You'll see the popularity come off because people are using AI for everything.
I would say the other caveat I was going to say, the second one would be using the word accountability. I think if you have a coach, obviously if you're coaching someone, you're paying someone, you're going to do the run. There might be a day where you think, I really can't be asked. And you just think, Joe, what? I'm paying 40. He's giving me this. I ain't going to let him down. I'm going to go out there and do it. Whereas if you do an AI side of things, maybe you're going to wake up and you think, who cares if I do that today? And the apps are sort of in the middle. You haven't got that personal accountability, but you've got the accountability. You've paid for this. So if I've paid for this, I want to get the best out of it. I'm not going to just ignore it. So I
get that. But I just feel with the advancements that we're going to see in AI over the next 5 years,
huge.
There's going to be no reason to be paying 35 quid a month or whatever it is for that service, when you can just literally just punch it in. You can punch it in now and it will give you basically what Runner and all the others are giving you to a degree.
Yeah.
I've just seen the time, so quickly run through these. Popularity of trail running. I think we've said this before, that we think that's going to take off. I think people are going to get more adventurous. What do you reckon?
Yeah, 100%. There, I think you see it promoted more. I think that links a little way to social media. I think those pictures of people up in the mountains or over in the woods or jumping over streams looks amazing. People are like, I want to go out and try that.
It's that next challenge in it. I think that people
something
look for.
Different. 100%.
Competitors to parkrun.
I've always said no. for me. It's not even a starter. I think parkrun is so dominant, is so big, and so awesome. I just don't see. I don't see anyone's going to compete. Not like for like a 5K run on a Saturday. Not like
I just wonder. Again, these were out there deliberately, but I wonder if something will pop up that will not take away from that. But there just seems a certain demographic doing parkrun. I wonder if that younger audience will get into something else. I don't know.
They could make. I agree with you. Maybe someone could have almost like a race series where parkrun becomes a competitive type of parkrun. Maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Like
Maybe,
a race series that's around the same sort of thing. The end of the running influencer. I think we've seen that now anyway. But yeah, the end of the running influencer.
Yeah, well, we talked about on the previous podcast, didn't we?
Pod.
And you can clearly see when you start looking at trends that the brands don't tend to need them as much anymore. So yeah.
And then the last one was the popularity of the majors to decline. Where are you on that one?
I think inherently in their self, once people have done them all, then they definitely will decline. I think the more expensive they get, there's going to be a decline. I think before it's a bit more of an exclusive club with not many people, and everyone looked up to it like, wow, I would love that one day. Nowadays, a lot, which is a good thing. A lot of people have done them. I don't think it's as elusive as it used to be. So I don't see how it can get any more popular. I think it can only go one way ultimately. Agreed.
Do you think they're costing themselves out of the market, pricing themselves out of the market?
I don't think the races are, because the races aren't really going up in money. I think the lack of spaces, the amount of people that want them, and then the infrastructure around it with the hotels, the flights, and how much it costs for a weekend to go to Cape Town, to go to Sydney. I think that's what's going to get people priced out of it. But you can't really blame that on the races, I don't think. I think their prices are pretty much the same.
No, that's fair. I think access is probably a better way of describing it. Access issues. Yeah. I think we always talk about removing barriers in running as FORDY Runs Running Club. I think the popularity of the majors has actually put barriers up because it's a business. So what they're going to do, they're going to try and rinse you for every penny you've got. And it's like, you look at Cape Town 27, it's probably going to be the cheapest it's ever going to be, because after that, and I know people are going 6, but then people will start to go for the 8 and potentially 9. So once they've done their 6th journey, they may then move on. They may not. They might think it's over commercialized and it's, whatever. But you're going to see a shift towards people trying to get to 8, maybe 9. So the hotels are going to cotton on. The local businesses, BA ain't thick. They're going to go, oh, hang on, we're one of the only people who fly from London to Cape Town. I tell you what, that weekend, let's turn up the prices for that. Those idiots will pay that. And it's the same thing, isn't it? And I think that then prices a lot of people out of it. Again, that's not the race's fault, so to speak. But I do think that's gonna have a negative impact, I think, on
I think the popularity as well. As you said, they're victims of their own success, because another element of it is the time qualifying. Whereas when I first wanted to look at qualifying for Boston, my time compared to what it is now, are they going to keep going down and down and down?
That's it.
Because they're so popular, they can't let everyone in who time qualify. So all they're going to do is keep moving that mark. I think New York Marathon at the moment, you need something like 18 or 20 minutes under the cutoff time, which is bloody fast anyway. It's becoming unreachable for everyday people.
Yeah, and again, the charity places, the prices of them are going through the roof. Which ain't a bad thing. So it was charities benefit, but I just feel like the whole thing's getting inflated.
Yeah,
and that will lead to the decline.
Yeah,
that's my view on it. Any other trends that you think will take place over the next 5 years?
We didn't really talk about podcasts, did we? What's your view on podcasts?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
In the next 5 years, where do you see running podcasts in the next 5 years?
Well, so I mean, we've seen it doing one. This podcast has been going for 5 years.
Actual long run, long run first,
maybe more, right? So we was one of the original people that did a video podcast, and obviously we still do the lives. We don't do as much as we used to because of time constraints and basically responsibilities outside of this. But we was the only idiots who ever did a running podcast live as well. So we definitely was a trailblazer, and the popularity of running podcasts, rightly so, took off. Again, a bit like social run clubs. There's a running podcast that suits your demographic that's out there, I believe. Every man and his dog's doing one. Every YouTuber does one, and all this sort of stuff. And that, again, that's great, because if you follow that person or you're into that sort of stuff, there's something there for you. I think some of them, as like anything, over commercialized. Some of them as boring as hell. It's the same format. They keep doing the same thing over and over again. We have tried over the years to reinvent ourselves here. Like we just said, we was doing stuff that was live. Then we switched out to a pre-recorded thing. We talk about different things, try and talk about different things every week, from week to week, whether it's half marathons, becoming a better runner, the odd guest, uncensored, where you upset everyone, or even just stuff like this, just general chat. We try and change the conversation every week about a different subject to appeal to as many everyday runners as we can. But I think that format of sitting there interviewing somebody, trying to have banter, which is just fake, it's a bit boring now. And I think people are probably getting bored of it. I'd like to see the numbers. I can say our numbers are going up. And they have been, because we're really lucky. But I think the numbers are coming down. I'd be very surprised if numbers are going up on some of them. What do you reckon?
Well, I think what you said about the guests is very true. There's only a certain amount of guests you can interview. I think we've seen that over the past few years, where the same person will go around for the different podcasts. I also think running, and Sydney is so inbred in me and how much I love the industry. Running isn't complicated as such. So there's always going to be a ceiling of what you can actually talk about. How many times we talk about tips of running when it's hot, tips of going on a holiday, how to get a faster 5K, how to run the fastest marathon. And if everyone's doing this, it's going to get to a point where, what do the subjects become about? So for a podcast to survive for the next 5-6 years, need to evolve somehow. I don't know the actuality. If I did, we would be doing it right now. Yeah. But as you said, I think we tried to make a start by making every week different.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And as you say, like this week, you had no clue. I thought of this because I can't remember what it was. Something, again, as always, my neurodiverse brain. I was like, running trends and that sort of thing. Who's talking about that? We did that the other week about his parkrun dead, or parkrun a race. There's sort of things. That's why, because we're not a media outlet. We're not a global. What's that global player thing? We ain't a media company or anything like that. We're small fry. We could basically say and do whatever we like.
We've got the flexibility.
We appreciate we've got a voice within the community, and we're so privileged that people listen and take note and enjoy what we do. But at the same time, we're quite unrestricted in what we can say and what we can do. Where the others, a lot of the time, it's just commercial stuff to for whatever reason, right? There's about 300 different things they're trying to get into because they're getting paid. And again, that's not that's the way of the world. So yeah, there's definitely, I think the podcast needs to evolve. I think actually there'll be something new. I really like this this whole like interactive stuff. I know we do the lives, but there's definitely something where there's an interactive element to it. But I don't know what that is, virtual or something. There's something like that coming. I'm sure there is. That's interesting. So, all right, team, there we go. What about that? I told you wouldn't get this one.
I would have expected half hour ago when I was watching England scrape through to the next round that we was going to start talking about running trends. I had no idea.
But it makes an interesting topic, and I think that's the thing, So again, we appreciate you taking us out on your run. If you watched this on the video as well, make sure you hit that subscribe button to the channel. Leave us a nice review, because Hayden, was it the other night you spent 3 hours crying because someone left a horrible review? Was it 3 hours?
What night was this that you were dreaming?
No, it was. He was so upset, right? Because somebody was so horrible about me presenting this podcast. So he got so upset. So can you go and leave some nice reviews so Hayden doesn't get upset? Okay, big boy. That's it from us. We appreciate you all as ever. We shall see you all later.